Hello and welcome back to the Kenya Travel Secret Podcast. My name is Sinja, I am your host and I am helping first-time travelers who wants to come and explore the real authentic Kenya in helping plan the entire itinerary without feeling stressed out or overwhelmed. And today's topic, I am so excited for that one because I'm getting asked these questions a million times. Sinja, is it safe to travel as a single mom in Kenya? So that's why I thought shooting an entire podcast episode about this, because I know so many moms, they want to travel to Africa with their kids or to Kenya, but they don't dare or they just need some advice, and that's why I'm here to give you all the details, all the advice you need so that you can dare traveling to Africa with your kids, with or without partner. I'm so excited to talk about this topic. You have no idea because I just arrived here in this beautiful, absolute stunning beach cottage in Malindi. And this is one of my most favorite places while being at the Kenyan coast. And I came here, I drove all the way from Nairobi or from Thika, over 12 hours with my car, alone, by myself, with my baby and my nanny, and I also packed another friend. And yes, I did not have a man like someone else with us or a partner because I am a single mom traveling all over Kenya with my son since he's actually 6 weeks old. And even though my own family, my grandma, everyone knows I do that and I travel consistently with my son alone through Africa, they still ask me like, Sinja, are you really doing this? How can you drive alone over 650 or 700 kilometers through Africa, through a country without a man? Why don't you carry a friend, or don't you have anyone to go with you or hire a driver? And this is something I want to talk about and discuss. Of course, traveling or driving a car in Kenya is a different story. As a first-time traveler, I would not advise you to do that. But why should we as women not be able to do that and men can do that? Why can I not drive over 700 kilometers through a country? Why is a man better in that? I know there's a safety aspect, but I want to get into that, more into details. I just felt like this is so ridiculous. And this is something which is coming up all the time. Like, oh my God, are you sure you're going on safari as a single mom? You don't have a partner, alone with your child? Like, how can you do that? How can you dare doing that without a man? And that's why I'm like, this is enough. I am recording this podcast for you. And even the other weekend, like, as I said, we just arrived here. We are here for 10 days and already we are here for like over 9 days, so we only have 1 more day, then we leave this beautiful place. And we did something really crazy and extreme. We did wild camping in Marafa, which is like 45 minutes from here. And it is one of the most beautiful places in Kenya when you want to see a sunset. Because when you're here at the coast, you see the sun rising, but you don't see the sun going down. And there is a beautiful place which they call like the Kenyan Grand Canyon, where you can have a nature hike and just be out there. And I have never dared or never even heard or seen anyone camping there. And I just like, okay, I bought a tent. I packed everything, gas to cook, everything so that we can sustain ourselves for one night. And then we did it. And even the locals there were asking me like, you're alone? Where's your husband? Like, where's your partner? You ladies are crazy. Like, they kept on telling us, you ladies are strong. Like, you dare here sleeping out in the wild without a man. But to be honest, Kenya is safe as long as you follow specific safety rules and measurements. And that's what I want to talk about in this podcast in details. So I want you to be open and feel like, yeah, Sinja's doing it. I can do it. Of course, I've been traveling and living here for over 9 years. I drive my own car. This is maybe a bit a different story. I feel this is home. I live here. But if you really want to do it, why not? And that's exactly why I'm here sharing a few tips and tricks. And I've made such a beautiful list until my son came to destroy my paper completely. But we will still try. I will still use it. So the first thing I want to talk about is actually the road and driving. Because one of the safety issues we have is driving on the road. The roads are maybe not the safest in Africa, as people like to overtake and overspeed. So there are a few rules you have to follow. First of all, I would advise, if you are a first-time traveler in Africa or in Kenya, do not drive yourself. There is no need of you hiring a car and driving. Not unless you say you are very experienced, you have been doing this in other countries, and that's just you, and you dare doing it. Like, if you want to be a driver in a country like this, you have to feel like, this is me, like I want to do it. If you believe in yourself, then you can do it. But if you already doubt yourself, okay, what's about the road? What's about the police? What if this happens? What if I get a flat tire? What if I get lost? If you already have all these questions and you don't really are confident about it, then don't do it. But if you feel like, yeah, you acknowledge, you are prepared, and you know it could happen, then you can do it. But I'm just saying Safe Drive Safari is not something which is very common in Kenya, because what happens is, if you plan your safari or your trip in Kenya, usually you plan it in different ways. That first you start with your safari, where everything will be organized with a tour operator, where you will have your own driver and guide who takes you on safari, because safari itself is risky in terms of wildlife. So I would not advise anyone to organize this by yourself as first-time traveler. You need help. And that's why also I am here. For the ones who don't know me yet, like, or if you're new here, I'm a travel consultant, and my job is to help you plan your trip in Kenya. And I am here consulting you on a level that I say, like, I can help you to organize everything you want to do from A to Z. Even if you want to hire a car and self-drive, that is fine, I'm gonna help you. But I will still give you my honest feedback after traveling for over 9 years here, what I think is the best in your position. What are the best experiences to include in your itinerary, and also to make sure that you move around safely from the beginning up to the end of the trip with your kids, even if you're a single mom, because you can do it. I'm also doing it. So that is the first thing, the road. Then for safari, definitely you need a guide who drives your car, or who just, navigates you and also shows you the wildlife. Because I always say, there's no need for you getting lost in a park. And in so many parks, there's no network. Like, it is crazy. In Masai Mara, so many places, even if you get stuck, if you get lost, what will you do? You can't even pick your call. Even if you have a local number and phone numbers, you can't call anyone. There is simply no network. And it can get really dangerous if it gets dark. So another rule is, for driving and being on the road, never drive around or travel in darkness. Always from 6:30, please go back to your hotel and be at home. Of course, if you want to go out, there's no worries. You can go out, take a taxi, and go for dinner or go for party, whatever you want to do. But in general of traveling, from moving from one place to the other, it should be always done at daytime. Then, of course, for you as a mom, it's important that you get a car which is safe from a tour operator who also is specialized maybe on kids and has a car seat. And also when you get an airport transfer, that your taxi driver can organize a car seat for your kids. Because they usually don't have this, not unless you request for one. And then also you have to be specific which type. I had once going on safari, Zahi was just 2 months old. So I'm not recommending to take a 2 months or 3 months old baby on a safari, but I did it. And then the driver came with a baby seat, which is for kids above half a year and older. So this car seat was useless. I wish he would have been clear. He didn't know. I told him the age of my child. Still, I wish I would have told him, can you please send me a picture so that you can verify, like you can accept. And he was like, okay, now you're good to go. You are sure this is good for your child. If not, to be honest, investing in a car seat in Kenya is not expensive. If you really plan to stay here and this is something very important and you need to get it and you don't get it, it's like $50 and you can get a car seat and then you just carry it around. The next thing which is important for your safety is the hotels. Number 2, the hotels. Because, hear me out in that, it's very important. There are so many hotels in Kenya which are not safe, or which are not safe for kids. Like, I have been traveling so many times and the hotels are not fenced, which is completely normal, but we have wild animals. And I'm not even necessarily talking about lions or leopards coming to your tent. No, they will come anyway. Like, if it's not fenced, or leopards, they can just jump over. But what I mean is, we, for example, have hippos in Lake Naivasha, or even in Masai Mara, there are rivers. Now, hippos, the daytime they are inside the water, but from 6:37 they come outside, and then they can come close to your tent. And for me, hippos are even way more dangerous than any other animals, because they can actually harm people and kill people, because they just want to kill people. They are very aggressive animals. They don't even want to eat you or do anything. So for me, knowing that there's a river but there's no fence and the hippos come close to my tent as a mom, and I know my child, who now started walking around, is sleeping, is too dangerous for me. And many camps are not fenced, so that means the hippos just come next to your tent, and I don't like that as a mom. Just that feeling of like, you can't even go out yourself. Now in case of anything, what do? You have to call a Maasai who takes you to, the restroom, in case it's outside, or takes you to the hotel for dinner. And I just don't like that at all as a mom. And there are a few hotels, like there's one in Naivasha, it's called Simba Lodge. I loved it. And when we get there, it's directly at the lake. And I was so happy to see that they actually have a fence. So the hippos will come out at night. You can actually see them, but they don't come inside to your tent and your house, which gives you just that feeling of peace. And that's what we want as moms. So being very carefully when choosing your hotels, I think, is one of the most important things. And that's why it's super, super tricky, because every hotel, if you ask them or if you Google, they claim to be child-friendly and they claim to have everything, but it's not true. There are actually just a couple, like a handful of hotels, which I have experienced myself, also especially inside the Masai Mara, which are child-friendly and which some even have extra activities for kids, where there is a naturalist who goes with the kids maybe for nature walks. He explains to them, he has drawing classes, they have cultural days where they experience how the Maasai live, and everything is child-friendly to any type of age. Zahi was there when he was only 1 year and 1.5 years, and they managed to get him activities in that little age. And I was finally like taking a break, and I was like, okay, let me just sip my coffee, relax or sleep, while I know he's in safe hands for at least 1 or 2 hours. I can do my thing. And I think traveling is all about, if you travel with your kids, it's all about being able to give him the first-hand experiences in the nature, connect with them, with the culture, with the animals, and just learning new things so that their brain, their cells, their neurons are able to develop. And that is a way on how kids grow and how kids get smarter. And being able to include that in your holidays while you travel, for a mom, or especially also for myself as a full-time traveler, I think that is a form of education which is priceless. And that's what I'm trying to include everywhere where we travel, that Zahi has some learnings, he has new first-hand experiences, and he can just be a child himself and do whatever he wants to do. So if you need help and think about, okay, good, now, how do I know which hotels are child-friendly, or the ones I just mentioned inside Masai Mara, for example, who have specific child activities, then please feel free to ask me. You can comment it below down here. I have a free Kenya travel checklist, which you can download, which gives you all the safety measurements and all the things you have to organize before you come to Kenya. But as well, when you apply for that, you will get an email where you can apply for a free call with me or one of my team members. And in that call, we can discuss all the details, and then if you decide to continue, I can help you to plan your trip for you and your family so that you are safe and you have all the experiences you want. Then the third point I want to mention is obviously about your itinerary. Do not go to places which are unsafe. So I've been talking about this a lot, and already I've mentioned you need to have a professional to help you plan with your itinerary, because also what happens is that, especially if you want to travel with kids, it's not only about the safety, it's also you try to be everywhere, do everything at the same time, and it's just not possible. It's just not working out. There are so many things, you cannot be one day in Amboseli, then in Masai Mara, then in Naivasha, then at the coast, and all this in 7 days, for example. And unless you fly from A, B, C, D. But then the question is, will it not be too much movements for you and your child? I really implemented in my lifestyle. Of course, I'm a full-time traveler. I do travel a lot in my life, but that we travel slow. And we stay places like this where we really stay for 10 days at the coast. And then I move to another place. And actually, the other place I will stay for 1 month. Of course, you'll be not able to do that most likely, but you should not rush 1 night here, 1 night another place, 2 nights here, 1 night here. So I always say 2 or 3 nights minimum if you have a child, if you stay in one place. Do not overpack your itinerary. And then of course there are areas which are not safe, which you should leave out of your itinerary completely, which is the borders, all the borders to Somalia, Sudan, and this type of areas. Then also for your kids, of course, maybe not taking them to slum areas or overcrowded areas where a child could feel unsafe. Not unless you're going with an organization who works there or is doing like a non-profit work or volunteering, who can be sure that you are safe while you're going there. So the first thing for any travel mom, very important when it comes to food and water. This is a question I get asked all the time. Okay, but what do I do about food? What do I give my child to eat? And also to drink. So for drinking, it's a very simple rule. Never ever take tapped water. Always buy the bottled water and give that to your child. And now for food, it depends on your itinerary. Usually when you book like a safari and everything, it's more like an all-inclusive package where you have full board, which means lunch, breakfast, and dinner is already included. And good hotels, there's no problem. You can eat fruits, you can eat salad, you can eat anything from the hotels. Let's say if they are 3, 4, or 5-star hotels. If they are below 3-star, I am not sure if I could overtrust them. Also, I would not give them any street food. Like myself, I don't take any street food, not unless I'm in Mombasa on a very safe street food tour. But apart from that, I don't take street food because simply the hygiene in the streets is not the best. They use water which is not clean. They use or reuse oil, and then they use like the bad oils, which I don't take them in my daily lifestyle. So every time I would take that, I would just feel like getting diarrhea issues, and we don't want to have that. And yeah, so in general, no street food. You can buy fruits in the streets, or also if you hit the coast, like the coconuts, that one is not a problem. But if you buy fruits, just make sure you wash them with your own clean water. Don't give fruits just like that to your child. There's actually a rule I learned, which is peel it, boil it, cook it, no, other way around. Cook it, boil it, peel it, or forget it. If you don't do any of these 3 things, cooking it, boiling it, or peeling it, then it's not safe. So that's like the rule you can have for yourself. The next point, number 5, is something a lot of moms worry about, and still up to today, when I just open my Instagram, I get this question like on a weekly basis. Sinja, which vaccines do I need for my child and for myself to come to Kenya? And also, how do I protect Zahi and myself from malaria? First of all, for the vaccines, there's no required vaccines you need to enter Kenya, not unless yellow fever, if you come from a yellow fever risk country. But apart from that, there's none which is required. So everything is up to you and to your doctor. And I am not a doctor myself, so I don't want to get into details into the vaccines. Zahi has all the standard vaccines, everything he can get, but also Zahi is born and raised in Kenya, so he has all of them. But on top of that, I feel that cholera might be worth of thinking. So what I want you to do is, I want you to go to your doctor and then go with him through all the vaccines and then discuss with him in details. And it should be a specialist for tropical disease, not just any random doctor. And then discuss with him in details of what makes sense, which vaccines you think. If you download the free Kenya travel checklist, I have included all the vaccines which also Zahi has and WHO is recommending. But there are a lot, and you do not have to take them all. You do not. So I want you to make the decision by yourself with your doctor, and that's it. You can't be and you can never be 100% safe. But you can try doing your best, of course. Also, I understand if you say you don't want to give your child too many vaccines, that one is completely okay. The only one I'm recommending is maybe to get cholera on top, because we had cholera outbreaks last year and the year before in Kenya. So this is maybe something worth knowing before you make a decision. On top of that, there's no vaccine for malaria. And I know malaria is a big concern. And luckily, I never had malaria here in Kenya. Zahi never had malaria. And I'm not taking any antibiotics or anything against malaria for the simple reason that there's no medicine and I cannot keep on taking antibiotics my whole life. And I don't want to give that to my son as well. So what we do is how we protect ourselves is, first of all, knowing which areas have malaria and have not. Like here at the beach where we are, there are a lot of mosquitoes and there is a high risk for malaria. If you go to Masai Mara, yes, there are mosquitoes, there is malaria. But if you hang around most of the time around Nairobi areas, there's no malaria, it's too cold. So this helps a lot. But still, we travel a lot, we spend a lot of time at the beach. And what we do is we have to protect ourselves not getting mosquito bites. That means sleeping under mosquito nets, closing your windows, spraying the nets or the rooms, or sometimes even the clothes if it's getting worse, and taking mosquito repellents if we are outside at night. But I usually make sure that Zahi is from 6, he's inside the house, because most of the mosquitoes come when it's dark. So from 6, they start coming, and then you can feel them everywhere, and you'll be like, oh my gosh, they are coming, attack, you go to a safe place. So that's what I do for my son, just avoiding him to be outside at all at night. Yeah, you can't do much. I know this is maybe not what you wanted to hear, but that's it. It's as simple as that. Just protect your son or your daughter from, and also yourself, from not getting too many mosquito bites. But also, you will get mosquito bites. You will try so hard not to get them, and then you will see your child has mosquito bites and yourself too. But don't get freaked out. Don't get worried. This is completely normal. You cannot be 100% mosquito free. And that's okay. Only because you have a bite does not mean you're getting malaria or your child has malaria. Now, the only rule I have when it comes to vaccines and diseases and everything happens, the moment your child has fever, please take your child to the hospital or even yourself. Go and get checked, because I do not joke around with fever and we never know which disease might be behind. So just get a blood test, go to the closest good international hospital and get it checked. And when it comes to that, I want to give you one more tip. Of course, you come with your insurance to Kenya, but as well on top of that, please get the AMREF Flying Doctor Insurance, which is an emergency helicopter insurance. And doesn't matter where you are, if you're inside the Masai Mara, if you're northern Kenya, if you're at the beach, does not matter where you are, they will come and pick you in case of an emergency with a helicopter and take you to the best hospitals. And the best hospitals in Kenya, usually they are the ones in Nairobi. And I think as a mom, knowing that you're safe, it doesn't matter where you are in Kenya, in 30 minutes or 1 hour, the helicopter will be there and take you to a good hospital, is a good feeling. And this is something I highly recommend for you to do. So I just want to end like this podcast with a few more safety tips you can have for yourself, but also letting you know that I have never felt unsafe while traveling here. And I don't have... Until now, I did not carry any weapons. I don't feel unsafe. I just behave in a country here like the same way as you would behave at home as well. Which I mean is do not walk outside in darkness. Do not provoke. If you're in a big town, big city, take care of your phone, of your valuable things. But just also trust in your guts. If you feel like something is going wrong or something might be off, act. Do not keep on walking a dark street or trusting someone, and you inside yourself, you feel like, okay, something is wrong. Act. Get help. Go and talk to the manager of the hotel. Go and change the room if you don't feel safe. If there's something bothering you, I had a case, there was a friend, it was actually the security guy. He was a bit weird. And there were signs before until he actually asked her out and for a date and things. And that's the last thing. If you as a single mom traveling with your son, and then the only security person there is hitting on you and he wants you on a date, and then you tell him no, you don't feel safe anymore as a mom. So that's why but there were signs before and she had ignored them or accepted them. If he already started hitting on you, flirting you, making you feel uncomfortable, act. Call the owner of the house. Call the AIRBNB or wherever you have booked it. Talk to the management or to the other security guys. This is not okay. Just have this in mind. You have your rights here. No one can teach you anything different only because you are a single mom and traveling with your child. But you have to act. You have to talk. And believe me, the moment you speak up for yourself, they keep quiet or they disappear because they're not used to strong women the way we are. So just have the guts, believe in yourself and speak up for yourself. And yeah, that's all I wanted to leave you with, because I really feel like this is a topic I'm speaking out of my heart, because as I said at the beginning, it's even in my family that up to today, and I've been here for 9 years, that I feel like they would be more happier if I would travel with a partner I don't have a boyfriend, but if I would get one and travel with him just because there's a man. And somehow I understand them, I can relate to it. But on the other hand, we are strong, independent women. And who says we cannot do the same things as men can do? And I just wanted to be here as someone, a role model for you who's doing it, who's living it, not just talking something online, which you can say like, okay, Sinja can do it, I can do it as well. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me anytime. You can comment down below here. You can also check me out on my social media. My private one on my Instagram is @travelwithsinja. You can find me there. Of course, I cannot answer to all the DMs I'm getting, but I am trying. And especially if I see that they are from a single mom asking me for serious advice or help, I always try to answer and make sure that we can talk. Okay, that was it for my podcast today, and I hope you liked it. I hope you could get some tips and tricks and also some inspiration and motivation that you go, you can do it out of this. And yeah, share with another single mom who you think like this would be good for her to listen to and to feel like, or even share with your parents to make them feel like there's someone who's doing it and she's there, very happy and confident, and that you can do it as well. It's not impossible and it's nothing new. Yeah, share with your friends and subscribe, and hopefully I see you in my next episode again. Bye.